Welcome. Welcome to this day and this opportunity to be together in community, which is a time of joy, comfort, and sometimes challenges. This Unitarian and Free Christian congregation is a place where we come to learn more about being human. We haven't come to this time of worship because we've figured out all of life's questions, or because we think we've got it all right. We come here to learn more about being in relationship together, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, and how to create trust and compassion in one another. My name is Lewis, and I am the minister to Nottage Chapel. And we are glad that you took the time to drop into this worship today. When things get back to some sort of sense of normality, when the COVID-19 virus outbreak is well under control, whenever that may be, we meet in our chapel building, which is located on T Canol in the village of Nottage near Porthcawl in Bridgend, County Borough, each Sunday at 11 o'clock. We also have a meditation group that meets each Friday, also at 11 o'clock, and which is followed by a coffee and chat session, which goes on until about 1 o'clock. However, this is likely to be suspended for a little longer yet. Let us move into worship, willing to be authentic with each other, honest within ourselves, and open to the connection of life in all its forms. And we begin our worship with these words by Cynthia Lundrum. We have come to worship. We have come to deepen the Spirit that calls us to love, to do justice, and to love our neighbours as ourselves. Amen. And the reading I have chosen for today's service is from Matthew's Gospel, and it is the 7th chapter, and it's the verses 15 through to 20. Beware of false prophets who come disguised as harmless sheep, but are really vicious wolves. You can identify them by their fruit. That is, by the way they act. Can you pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? A good tree produces good fruit, and a bad tree produces bad fruit. A good tree can't produce bad fruit, and a bad tree can't produce good fruit. So every tree that does not produce good fruit is chopped down and thrown into the fire. Yes, just as you can identify a tree by its fruit, so you can identify people by their actions. That ends our reading from Matthew's Gospel. And I invite you now to join me in a period of prayer and reflection. O deep mystery, vital centre of our lives, we know your presence is not called up by much speaking. Rather, may we honour your presentness in the absence of noise, in the promise of the morning, in the dancing brightness of the sun. We are struck in awe before the great mystery of the cosmos. We are powerfully moved by a deep concern for our world and our care for one another. May ours be a faith that is more than words and more than ideals. May ours be a faith of vitality and compassion. We lament that there are many people in the world who are burdened by hunger and pain, by sorrow and anxiety, by violence and loss. May they find comfort and peace, and may their burdens be lifted from them by our actions as peacemakers and doers of justice. May we find it in ourselves today to work toward a better world. May we make use of that energy to take part in the lifting of burdens. May our gratitude find expression in the care of others, both near and far. May we find ways to live and grow on the margins. May we leave behind us a trail of encouragement and hope. And having spoken much, perhaps too much, now, without a word, we rest in your eternal presentness. In returning from the silence, I invite you to join me in saying the words that Jesus taught. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Let me describe to you a scenario, a situation, if you like, in which I have found myself on quite a number of occasions. You get talking to somebody. In my case, it's very often in the queue at a bus stop. And you happen to casually mention something humorous that happened recently in chapel. Almost immediately, you get the, "Oh, I go to," insert name of congregation, chapel. "Which church do you go to?" It then becomes time to take the look as you say, "I'm a Unitarian." Many Orthodox, and that's small o Orthodox Christians, eye Unitarians with a certain degree of suspicion. They think we're odd, but then we often think they are odd too. And to me, this comes because of some of the curious language they often seem to employ. It seems to me that such mainstream Christians, if I can use that word, have their own distinctive code. Words such as, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, or God needed another angel in heaven. I'm sure you know what I mean. To me, these phrases provide answers, or at least try to provide answers, yet deny all thought. People very often are given more than they can handle. And banal statements about God and angels do not ease the terrible loss of a child. As a Unitarian minister, I often speak with many used-to-be Christians who have strong views on such theology, and the kind of theology that left them feeling less wrapped in God's loving, protective arms, but condemned as worthless sinners. Often, such people end up wandering in a metaphorical desert for quite a while. Years can be spent in angry resentment, rejecting anything that smacks of religion. And the Unitarian movement has welcomed many people over the years who have had bad experiences of orthodox expressions of Christianity. Often, and quite understandably, these people bring a certain amount of baggage with them because of their experiences. Frequently, this baggage can be a rejection of anything that reminds them of their painful religious past. The awful concept of a God who gives rewards to some people whilst seemingly inflicting terrible trials on others has driven many people towards an angry form of atheism. I will freely admit, for a time, I wondered and perhaps believed that I might be an atheist myself. But that was before I discovered Unitarianism. And I know the same has been true for many people to whom I've spoken. The anger at the narrowness of the teaching of what sometimes passes itself off as Christian values has driven many people away from religion. But many others reassess their relationship with the divine. And some of those end up coming through our doors because they want the freedom to search for truth without the imposition of dogma. And in my experience, at least, and I know that it is true for many other people, Unitarianism provides the much needed space for such spiritual evolution. For not only do we tolerate, but we also actively welcome those who are searching for truth, searching for equality, and searching for peace of mind in community with others. Now, you're probably all aware that there are a large number of people in Britain who say that they do not find the answers that they are looking for in organised religion. Many people will say that they are spiritual but not religious. But few, if indeed any of these people, would describe themselves as being agnostic or certainly not atheist. Many people still have a belief in some sort of higher power, even if that might not be the God of traditional religion. But their spiritual convictions are not tied to any particular religious affiliation. Many would freely admit that their lives are confused with unanswered and possibly unanswerable questions. Let me say here and now that it's a huge shame that what has happened to the word Christian and the idea of being Christian, thanks to the antics of a small, noisy minority that believes it is the silent majority. To my mind, such Christians don't speak the language of the religion that Jesus taught. Of course, this isn't true for all Orthodox Christians, many of whom are genuinely good people who have offered me their prayers, who treat their neighbours as themselves, who preach the gospel with their deeds rather than their words, and who are trying to make their way through the world just like the rest of us are. After all, the need to believe that there is some sort of higher power and some sort of design and purpose to life, if not a higher power as such, is something that is common to the religious and the non-religious alike. As Unitarians, we understand this, and we attempt to make a difference to the lives of all those in need of a loving touch. Of course, not all of our deeds will unfold on a cosmic scale, but a phone call to a lonely friend, an emergency provisions package to a homeless person waiting for their benefits to come through, or perhaps a genuinely warm welcome to somebody from the LGBT community. These are things that feel like a good enough answer to the question of life's design and life's purpose. Perhaps it is the freedom of thought that Unitarians are welcome to choose from that makes those who question whether ours is a real faith skeptical of us. Some people need, and indeed crave, a more defined formula than we offer. However, beneath the all too insufficient language that any of us has at our disposal is the human need for answers that make sense. It is my belief that it is in our caring for one another, despite our beliefs or unbeliefs, and in caring for our world, that we can discover an unequivocal answer. Just as you can identify a tree by its fruit, so you can identify people by their actions. Thank you for listening, and Amen. Now, we are still not quite ready to resume face-to-face services at Nottage Chapel, but it is becoming that one step closer each week. When we do, it will be not quite as it has been in the past. There will be reduced numbers available to attend services in line with Welsh Government guidelines, but information will be posted via these videos on the Facebook page and website and Twitter, and also on other means as well. The Church Notice Board will have something put on it. As usual, if you do need any help with anything that we can help with, or we can direct you to help, please do not hesitate to contact me on the Facebook page, Twitter page, or via my email address, which is nottage.minister@gmail.com. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy days to join us for this act of worship, whatever day you've happened to join us, and we hope that you've gained something from it, and that if you live close enough to the chapel, we might see you at some point in the future. Thank you. And we bring our service to a close with these words of benediction. Within each of our hearts there is a most glorious light. Go forth and let its spark help you understand what troubles both you and others. Go forth and let its light of reason be a guide in your decisions. Go forth and bring its ray of hope to those in need of help in both body and spirit, that they may find healing. Go forth and fan the flames of passion to help heal our world. Go forth and spread the warm glow of love, pushing back the darkness of the world. Go forth and share your glorious light with the whole world. Amen.